Here we are on Channel 11, and today we'll be talking about the Vikings and how they were successful. We have a special guest on Channel 11 today by the name of Phil. He will be talking about how the Vikings were successful raiders. Over to you now, Will.
It's a great pleasure to be on your show today. Now about the Vikings. Over my years of research, I have found out why Vikings were such amazing raiders. Now, most people think that Vikings were dumb, knuckle-headed pirates, but they're actually very intelligent, as they plan their raids to the very finest detail to the point where they couldn't fail.
Now, I always thought the Vikings were dumb, knuckle-headed pirates, but I guess not. Now, what gave the Vikings agile attack on the enemy?
Now, the Vikings were in an area called Scandinavia, which is Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Now, Scandinavia had lots of timber, which was good for the Vikings as they could build their longboats and they could have a quick, agile attack on the enemy. So, this quiet attack gave the Vikings a position of an ambush, which was all planned for a successful raid on the enemy.
Now, what was so amazing about these longships?
Strength, mobility and speed of the longships and the Vikings' knowledge of the oceans is what they needed for a successful raid. Now, the shallow draw allowed the Vikings to get anywhere from the deep inland to the seashore.
Now, how did the Vikings become successful raiders?
Now, fighting is what Vikings lived for, and from such a young age, they trained to fight for battles in the future. Now, this was good for future generations as it built a stable Viking society.
Now, through all these battles, surely they would have had some protection gear on.
Now, for armour, for the poorer people, they wore leather, and for the richer people, they wore iron. The sword was the best and the most expensive, and the average Viking just carried around axes and spears. Now, swords were usually 35 inches and double-sided, and axes were only one-sided blades. All this baloney about being double-sided blades is fake news. Most people think that Vikings wore horns on their heads. Well, that is fake news as well.
Now, someone had fun making lies up about the Vikings. Now, how did the Vikings attack the enemy, and with how many men?
Well, in one attack to England, the Vikings had over 300 ships. Ships with 20 men on each. Just to conquer England, an average army for the Vikings was about 1,200. Now that's a lot of Vikings. The Berserkers ran forward with zero armour and went full ham on the enemy, and with no regrets with their choices, the next lot was normal men with spears and axes. After that were the rich men with their 35-inch sword to defeat the enemy.
Now, last question. What made you so intrigued into the Vikings?
The Vikings lost their final battle at Stamford Bridge, the home of Chelsea supporters. When I heard about this, I instantly got intrigued in the Vikings.
Now, Will, thanks for being on Channel 11 tonight and giving us a great insight on why the Vikings were successful raiders. That's all, folks. Good night.